What's the slowest speed you can imagine for a police chase? 60 miles per hour? 40? 20? It seems absurd, right? The very essence of a chase is speed, adrenaline, the desperate gamble against flashing lights and sirens. But what if the equation changes? What if desperation overrides common sense? What if I told you the top speed in one particular, very real pursuit was 15, maybe 16, downhill, with a tailwind? Today, you reconstruct the story of a criminal mastermind. Okay, scratch that, definitely not a mastermind, which was quite possibly, objectively, undeniably the worst getaway vehicle in human history. A vehicle so slow, so fundamentally unsuited for escape. The police weren't just chasing him, they were practically trapped behind him, forced into the most agonizingly slow motion capture imaginable. Get ready for the slowest, most baffling, and hilariously pathetic police chase you will ever witness. This isn't just a fail, it's a masterclass in incompetence. This is the story of the golf cart getaway. Let's get into it. Our saga begins not with the high-stakes tension of a downtown bank, or the gritty backdrop of an industrial heist, but under the perpetually sunny skies of a sprawling, meticulously maintained retirement community in Arizona. Picture endless rows of identical beige houses, impossibly green lawns courtesy of timed sprinklers, palm trees swaying gently, and the near-silent, gentle whirring of electric golf carts, the undisputed king of transportation within these quiet walls. Life here moves at a relaxed pace, but that pace was about to be shattered, albeit very, very slowly. Our subject, let's call him Wally, was definitively not elderly. Nor was he a resident enjoying his golden years. Wally was, to put it mildly, an opportunist lacking significant foresight. He was a small-time burglar, likely looking for an easy score. He'd managed to slip into one of the community homes while the owners were out playing bridge. Perhaps he wasn't sophisticated. He grabbed what he could quickly, some costume jewelry he probably thought was real, a handful of cash from a bedside table, maybe a half-eaten sandwich from the fridge. Adrenaline was pumping. He had the loot. Now, the crucial part, the escape. He bursts out the back door, heart pounding like a drum against his ribs. He kneaves wheels fast. He scans the impeccably clean, utterly silent street. Panic starts to set in. No cars, not a single one. Just golf carts, parked neatly in driveways, looking benign, almost mocking his urgency. In Wally's adrenaline-addled brain, a flicker ignites. Not a spark of genius, perhaps nor like a short circuit. A golf cart. Of course. It's quiet. It can probably cut across the grass. It's the perfect stealth vehicle for this low-speed environment. He doesn't waste a second. He quickly pries open the ignition of the nearest one, a standard, unassuming, beige electric club car model, throws his meager stolen goods in the back basket, hops in, and slams the accelerator pedal. He probably felt like a cinematic genius in that moment, zipping silently away from the scene of the crime at a blistering 15 miles per hour. The wind, maybe gently, rustling his hair. He navigates the winding, perfectly paved roads of the retirement village, past identical houses with identical flower beds, feeling like James Bond escaping Blofeld's lair, albeit at a slightly more leisurely pace. He likely imagines the police arriving minutes later, finding the burgled house utterly baffled. No tire tracks, no roaring engine noise echoing in the distance, just silence and bewildered shrugs. He's a ghost, a very slow ghost. But Wally, in his moment of perceived brilliance, forgot something critical. Someone always sees. In this case, it was Mildred Perkins, age 78, enjoying her morning coffee and Sudoku puzzle on her patio. Mildred witnessed the entire clumsy burglary through her window, and the even clumsier getaway in her neighbor Dave's golf cart. Mildred, a veteran of neighborhood watch meetings, didn't hesitate. She calmly picked up her phone and dialed 911. And within minutes, reality, in the form of flashy red and blue lights, appeared in Wally's tiny, inadequate rearview mirror. The first responding officer, let's call him Officer Miller, probably blinked, then blinked again. A golf cart? He'd seen slow pursuits before, maybe a tractor, once even a motorized scooter, but a golf cart? This was new. He radios it in, his voice a carefully controlled monotone, betraying only the slightest hint of amusement. Dispatch, showing code 3. I'm, in pursuit of a beige golf cart, southbound on Fairway Drive. Suspect is, fleeing at approximately 14, that's 14 miles per hour. Requesting, well, maybe just one backup unit? Over. The chase is on, if you can even define it as such. Wally sees the lights. Pure panic replaces his fleeting genius. He floors the accelerator. The tiny electric motor whines, a high-pitched, pathetic sound of protest, but the needle on the non-existent speedometer barely budges. Maybe 15 now? 16 downhill? The police cruiser behind him isn't even trying. Officer Miller maintains a safe, almost respectful distance, as if escorting a minor dignitary, his lights flashing almost ironically in the bright Arizona sun. This isn't a pursuit, it's a slow-speed parade, and Wally is the unwilling Grand Marshal. Let's pause here and truly analyze the sheer, unadulterated absurdity of Wally's vehicle choice. We need to break down the physics of this guaranteed failure. A standard electric golf cart, like the one Wally commandeered, typically has a motor generating maybe 3 to 5 horsepower. For comparison, the police cruiser behind him likely boasts over 250 horsepower. Its top speed is governed at around 15 to 20 miles per hour, primarily for safety on golf courses and community paths. Its acceleration is, well, let's call it gradual. The battery pack, when fully charged, might offer a range of 30 miles, but that's under ideal conditions, flat ground, conservative driving, which Wally is definitely not. Protection? Zero. No doors, no reinforced frame, just a plastic body and a flimsy roof. And perhaps the most critical flaw for an escape? The tires. They are small, low pressure, and designed specifically for delicate turf, offering minimal grip on asphalt and absolutely treacherous handling on uneven dirt or gravel. It is, objectively, scientifically, unequivocally the worst possible choice for escaping anything faster than an annoyed pedestrian. Back to the action, or rather, the lack thereof. Wally, realizing his blistering 15 miles per hour isn't quite cutting it on the paved roads, makes another tactical decision fueled by pure desperation: go off-road. He leans a sharp right, bumping awkwardly over the curb and onto the pristine green grass of the Sun Haven Community Golf Course's 7th fairway. Surely the heavy police car won't follow him onto the sacred putting green. He bounces violently across the fairway, the cart's pathetic suspension offering zero comfort, dodging elegantly placed sand traps and inconveniently timed sprinkler heads. The tiny wheels spin, struggling for purchase on the damp grass. For a fleeting moment, a glimmer of hope. He seems to be pulling away slightly from the cruiser stuck on the pavement. Freedom tastes like freshly cut grass, but Officer Miller isn't a rookie. He doesn't charge onto the green, risking damage to the turf and his vehicle. He simply accesses the paved cart path that runs alongside the fairway. Driving slowly, easily keeping pace with Wally's bumpy, frantic progress on the grass, he stays right with him. The helicopter, Air 1, has now arrived overhead, not necessarily for tactical support, but probably because the absurdity was too good to miss. The pilot is likely relaying Wally's precise location with barely suppressed laughter. Air 1, suspect, is now, attempting to navigate the sand trap near the green. Advise ground units, maybe bring a wedge? The thermal camera remains off. Overkill isn't necessary when your target glows with the heat of pure incompetence. Wally is trapped. The cart path blocks one side, manicured hedges block another. He becomes desperate. He zigzags erratically across the green, like a confused rabbit. Ahead, he sees it, a shimmering blue oasis, a water hazard, a small, decorative pond glistening near the 9th hole. What's his plan now? Swim for it? Hope the golf cart mysteriously transforms into an amphibious vehicle? His thought process is unclear, perhaps even to him, but he heads straight for it. He approaches the pond far too fast for the cart's limited braking and non-existent traction on wet grass. He tries to turn at the last second. The low-traction turf tires offer a final, definitive nope. The golf cart slides gracefully, almost balletically, sideways towards the water's edge. There's a small, almost apologetic splash. Not a dramatic movie explosion, just a gentle entry. The front wheels dip into the murky pond. The cart lurches to a halt, stuck fast in the muddy bank. Water, likely full of algae and disappointment, begins to seep onto the floorboards around Wally's feet. He frantically jams the gear selector into reverse. He slams the accelerator. The electric motor lets out one final, high-pitched, desperate whine, sputters, crackles, and dies with a sad little fizzle, perhaps accompanied by a wisp of smoke. He's not just stuck, he's partially submerged, and his getaway vehicle is officially deceased, electrically compromised, utterly finished. The police cruiser pulls up calmly on the grass beside the pond. Officer Miller switches off his lights. The siren is low and silent. He gets out, adjusting his hat, taking a slow, deliberate breath, probably to compose himself and suppress the overwhelming urge to laugh. He walks, not runs, to the edge of the water hazard. Wally is just sitting there in the driver's seat, ankle deep in stagnant pond water, staring blankly ahead, the picture of utter defeat. Officer Miller likely doesn't even need to shout commands. The situation speaks for itself. Maybe just a simple, almost sympathetic, "Really, dude? A golf cart?" Wally slowly raises his hands in surrender. The stolen, and likely worthless, jewelry perhaps floating gently around his feet in the murky water. The great golf cart getaway lasted maybe 10 minutes. It covered less than 2 miles, and it ended, quite literally, in a wet, muddy, embarrassing fizzle. What makes this case a masterpiece of failure isn't the crime itself, which was minor. It's the sheer, unadulterated, multi-layered stupidity of the escape plan. It highlights a specific type of criminal mindset, one driven entirely by panic and impulse, utterly devoid of foresight or basic situational awareness. He saw a vehicle, any vehicle, and his panicked brain screamed, "Go!" He failed to consider speed, range, terrain, the capabilities of his pursuers, or the fundamental physics governing his chosen chariot. It's a level of incompetence that transcends simple failure and borders on performance art. This wasn't a calculated risk gone wrong. It was a guaranteed failure from the moment he hotwired that beige harbinger of doom. The police didn't need high-tech gadgets, SWAT teams, or elaborate strategies. They just needed patience, a leisurely driving pace, and perhaps a very good sense of humor to write the incident report later. So, what's the ultimate takeaway from the world's slowest, dumbest police chase? Maybe it's that sometimes, the biggest obstacle isn't the flashing lights in your rearview mirror, but the spectacular lack of judgment in your own head. Maybe it's a reminder that if you're going to commit a crime, at least have the common decency to steal a vehicle equipped with an actual engine capable of exceeding the speed limit of a school zone. Or maybe, just maybe, the universe has a sense of humor, and crime really doesn't pay, especially when your getaway car requires a tea time and is vulnerable to puddles. What's the most ridiculous getaway vehicle you've ever heard of? A lawnmower? A bicycle built for two? Let us know your favorites in the comments. And for more breakdowns celebrating the full spectrum of criminal genius and incompetence, make sure you subscribe to Chase Matrix. Thanks for watching.